Srila Prabhupada ki jai, namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Paschata Dasatarine. I wanted to, first of all, thank all of you for attending this celebration. It is a bit embarrassing for me. I don't feel I really deserve it. But you're all so kind and so humble and so pure that you want to honor this very ordinary person. But since we have some relationship and we have some affection for one another, then I am happy to be present, at least in this video. And Leela Shakti, she asked me some questions that I could answer. It was kind of an address to disciples and also to disciples in general of other gurus. I think the answers would be relevant. So my little address will be answers to her questions. And so her first question is how to please you as a guru, and I would say how to please any guru. And it's always to understand the heart. What is the desire? What is the mood? And like we understood, Prabhupada's desire was for book distribution, was to build Mayapur, to open temples, to establish Varnashram, to start schools, and also to be good devotees ourselves. So through listening to the instructions and seeing the actions of the spiritual master, you understand his heart and desires, and that's the best way to please the guru. Even before the guru asks, you know what he wants, and you think, generally this is the direction he's going. How can we get there faster? Is there a better way? How can we produce a better result? And at the same time, how can I follow all his other instructions which are meant to elevate me? Because, in one sense, it's easy to accomplish something, but it's much more difficult to be Krishna conscious while accomplishing it. So we're given both the instruction how to do something and the consciousness we're given the goal, and then also how to execute, how to live, how to act, how to think, the attitudes and so forth, in executing that goal. So there's other two things. What you want from your disciples, they all get along and love one another. This is the biggest challenge I think we're facing in our movement is just devotees being able to work together, and it requires detachment, it requires compromise, it requires giving up our own agendas and own pet peeves and just focusing on something that's greater than ourself and our needs. So that's one thing. I think that's one of the most important things. The questions, what you want from your disciples, that's very important, because that will enable us to be much more successful in our preaching, and it also demonstrates that we're advancing. Because whenever disciples or any devotees don't get along, then the first thought that comes to my mind is, are we really advancing? Are we really understanding what Prabhupada has given us? Are we really trying to follow what he's given us? Or are we just concerned about our needs and what we want and what we feel is right and wrong and our opinions and so forth, and our own needs, either to be in the center or to be honored or whatever it is. What qualities should we develop? Well, Prabhupada has given us that list from Chaitanya Charitamrita of the 26 qualities, and in 1966 he posted those qualities in the temple on 26 2nd Avenue, and then the devotees asked, why did you post these? And he said, so you know what qualities you are supposed to develop, so you know this is how you're supposed to be. So 26 of them, you can work on them, but I think the most important qualities, as mentioned before, are qualities which are relational, in helping us develop better relationships, better understanding, better care of one another. That's really important, that we don't neglect one another as far as possible. Okay, how to be more sincere in the relationship with Guru and Krishna. The essence of Krishna consciousness is to please Guru and Krishna. The essence of Krishna consciousness is to be free from personal agendas and not to serve Krishna for material benefit or even spiritual benefit. So that's a definition of sincerity, so therefore we should always monitor, are my actions sincere? And we know philosophically that when the Guru is pleased, Krishna is pleased. It's automatic. And then you get Krishna's mercy automatically. So we know the instructions of the spiritual master. We know what he wants. We know what Prabhupada wants. As we listen to those instructions, we try to execute them automatically. Krishna is pleased. And there's so many ways. There's not just one way to please the spiritual master. But when Prabhupada was asked what pleases you the most, and he said to love Krishna. So if we can develop love for Krishna, that's the greatest service to the Guru. Because the Guru's service to his disciples is to get them out of the material world, to liberate them. So the more the disciples do to purify themselves and become Krishna conscious, then the more they're fulfilling his mission, which is to help them get out of the material world. Okay. What question is the next? What is more important? What is more important when we become disciples? Or I think she means most important. Hearing is very important. It's a very good sign. And serving. This is just from my perspective, seeing devotees and how they're advancing. And I always feel very comfortable when I see that a devotee likes to hear, because hearing indicates that they want to learn how to advance. And I also feel very happy when I see devotees want to serve. And as disciples, we want to get instructions from our spiritual master. We have problems, we come to him with our problems, we want to solve these problems, we want to be better devotees. But we don't want to make the mistake of having our only relationship as him being the problem solver. But we want to have the relationship of imbibing his instructions and trying to help him, if you can, as far as possible in his mission, in what he's trying to accomplish in service to Prabhupada. How to build relationship with Guru, mostly through service. That's how we feel his presence. And Prabhupada said, I always felt close to my spiritual master. Prabhupada only met his spiritual master 6 times, but he said, I always felt close. So through service, we'll always feel close to our spiritual master, and we'll feel the heart, we'll feel the heartbeat, the desire. And whenever we're executing the instructions of the spiritual master, we always feel that this is really the duty of the disciple. And this will please Prabhupada, certainly. There's so many times Prabhupada said, follow your temple president, that will please me. So, last thing I would say is, I think it is not that I feel qualified to be your spiritual master, but I'm only trying to explain to you what I've learned from Prabhupada, because those instructions have been my life and soul, and they have helped me in my Krishna consciousness, and they will help you. So we may or may not have specific qualifications, but we have the instruction, and all the power is in those instructions. And as a last thought, Prabhupada wanted us to spread his movement, and to do that he wanted us to be Guru. And to be Guru, you have to live what Prabhupada taught. So you don't have to be Diksha Guru, but Guru means you're going to guide people, and that's all. Every one of us has that job. And to best guide people, we have to be an example of what Prabhupada gave us. So that's really, I think, the most important thing for any of us, is to try to be, as far as possible, exemplify the teachings that Prabhupada has given us. And that will have amazing power and potency in affecting people. And if we do that, even though we may not feel that we're very pure or very advanced, the instructions are advanced, the instructions are pure, and if we can follow those instructions, we will have a very powerful effect on people. And in this way, we can spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, although we may just feel like we're ordinary people. And so that's most pleasing to the spiritual master, when his own disciples become spiritual masters. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm not here with you to celebrate, but I'm with you in spirit. And thank you again for coming. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki